Hey everybody. I just wanted to again intro this video. We are in the phase of the class where you get some guest speakers and teachers. So this video, we are going to have a very special guest, your very own GA, the one and only Doroteo, is going to be walking you through the next step of your Photoshop for this project and just some tips and techniques to start to if your renders aren't looking quite the way you want, or there's like a weird lighting glitch or something, instead of tinkering around in the render to try and make it perfect, that can be really hard to do. You can fix a lot of that in Photoshop. So Doroteo is going to walk you guys through that right now for Tuesday. And then this Thursday, Olivia is going to do a live Photoshop tutorial as well. The following week, Blythe is going to be doing a live twin motion experience in the studio space. All of you guys are going to hop in a Zoom call. We're going to record the whole thing. You can ask questions live, and then we're going to upload it here on this channel. So you're going to get a nice variety. And we love giving the GAs an opportunity to teach every now and then. I was a GA once, and it's kind of how I found out that I wanted to be a teacher myself. So that being said, I'm going to hand it off to Doroteo now. Give them your best. I will see you guys Thursday.
Alright guys, I'm going to show you how to bring entourage from either the library we have provided or from images you have found online into your scene. First thing you want to do is bring your image into Photoshop. And before you start doing anything to your image, you want to make sure your image is locked by just clicking the lock in here. And you want to drag it to the plus sign. That way you have a copy. In case you messed up the original one, you can always go back to the main image. In terms of bringing in entourage from the folder we have provided, you can just go to one of the folders and look for any of the assets you want to bring. So most of these cutouts are PNG, and the good thing about PNGs is that they don't have a background. So as soon as you bring in one of them, it's just the object with no background. So you don't have to worry about having to clean it up. And also when you drag it, it makes its own layer. That way you have things organized. So, and if you brought out something you didn't like, you can always do Control C, or you can just drag it to the trash bins. That's one way to delete it. So let's say you can just pick whatever you like from here. Then basically you can scale it by just dragging the box. Pretty simple. But let's say you checked it and you want to scale it again. One thing to make it bigger or smaller is make sure you're on the correct layer and make sure you're grabbing the object you want to scale, and you just want to do Control T to transform it, and that way it brings back the scale box. That way you can correct the scale in case you messed it up. If you want to bring objects, let's say you found like this table, you want to put this table into your scene, but the main thing is that this image has a background, and if you just try to drop it into Photoshop, it's gonna bring the whole image. So one thing you can do is go into Photoshop, open the image, and there's a couple ways to just grab the table. One of them is object selection tool. And you can see when I hover over one of the objects, it selects it. So you want to select it and you want to do shift if you want to add this. And by dragging from the left to the right, it's going to drag everything it finds within the box. So you can see I missed some spot, so I can just drag it. And it's going to select everything. Now it's just you do Control C to copy. You go into your scene and you do Control V to paste. And once you have the object, you want to do Control T to scale it. And you just want to place it where you want to have the table. You can also do Control C to delete everything. That's one way. Another way, if you have something also, if you have something selected and you want to deselect it, you can just hold Control D and it's gonna deselect it. Another way is to do select subject, and depending on the image, it's gonna select what it thinks is the object. And one way to clean the selection, you can just go into Object Selection tool, right click it, and do Quick Selection tool. And basically what it does, it selects where your mouse is, and plus is adding, and this one is subtracting. So you want to subtract the stuff you don't want to grab from here. Basically that. Now you can just grab that to grab the table. And you see here I have some of the parts that are not selecting, so I just want to select it. That. And it's the same process. You just want to do Control C and Control V, Control T. And it grows it like that. When you're bringing in stuff like objects and you want to adjust the brightness of it, you can go to your layer, and in here, these are like the ways in which you can edit the objects or the image too. And you want to go to brightness and contrast. And you want to make sure this is turned on because it locks it to the layer. And you can see I can adjust the brightness of the object. And also, if you don't have this locked into the layer, it's just gonna do it to the whole image, as you can see, like it's doing it to the whole image. But as soon as you lock it, it locks to the layer that is below it. So that's one way to, in a way, match the atmosphere of your scene. Now that is objects. If you want to add textures to the scene, you can just bring in an image from Google, like a type of material or texture you want to add to the walls or ceilings. In some of the times when you're trying to download an image from Google and you're trying to save image as, it wants to download as a web file. I need a way to work around that is you just want to right click and do inspect, and you want to go to sources, and you want to go through the folders It sometimes takes a minute to find it, but basically the image are the green logos, and you can just go through it. And if you right click and do save image as, you're gonna see that it is no longer a web, it's a JPEG. So you just wanna Control A for Control A is to select everything on the canvas, and you want to do Control C and Control V. Now, if you try to like transform this image, the texture, you'll see that it's hard. It is hard to match the kind of like the angle of the walls and match the perspective. One way to match the angle of the walls is to go to Edit, Transform, and you want to do Skew, and you just want to match to the corners of it. Sometimes it takes a minute, like that. And of course, once I do that, you'll see that I cover the door. An easy way to subtract the wall is to hide the layer and use the polygon tool to select the surface. You want to hide those layers so it's easier for you to look at it. And you basically want to select the surface of the wall that you want to keep. Once you have that selected, you can turn this back on and select it, and you want to mask it. So this is the layer mask, and you see that now the door is back to the scene. Another way to add texture to a wall is you can go to filter, and you can go to what? Let me sure I add another layer. You go to filter and vanishing point, and in here you can notice I already have one, but you can add another one, and you want to do basically the same thing. And you want to Control V to paste the texture and Control T to scale it. You can just drag it holding Shift, and you can see once you drag it to one of the areas, it's gonna snap to the vanishing point of it, and you can just scale it depending on the texture you want to match. You can see. And once you have that texture how you want it, you just click OK, and you'll see it there. And it's the same process if you want to add the window. You can just go to the polygon tool, and on this one, instead of selecting the surface, you want to select the void. Before you go to mask it, you want to go to select, and you want to do embers. Go back to the layer and mask it. and you have the hole right there. And if you turn everything back, you see that it's starting to make sense. And I don't know why there's some lines in there. And you see that the texture is going over the person, and that's because the layer it's above the layer of the person, and so you want to find that layer you have the person at, or the object. You want to be on top of the texture, and you just want to drag it up the top to make sure it's not blocking the texture. Um, Ways to edit the brightness and the portrait of the image. You want to go to here. There's usually three um, settings I normally use is brightness, as I already showed you. It's gonna change the brightness and also the contrast. And you can see on this one is black and white, so it's hard to see. But you can also play with the levels of this. And this you can play with the blacks and the white. Basically, if you want to darken the white, you can do that for this. And the other one is exposure, and this is kind of like similar to the brightness. Exposure you can think of as kind of like the amount of sunlight it's receiving. And once you have everything uh, similar to close to how you want it, and you want to crop the image, you can just do Windows and Properties. Properties. Okay, once you have all the objects, once you have all the objects and textures on the scene, and you want to crop it to match to the requirements we asked, on here you can see the canvas size, and that's basically the resolution of it. If you change it, it's gonna crop it in a way. You said it's gonna tell you that it's gonna be smaller than the canvas you already have. You can just do proceed, and you'll see that it crops the image to the center. So it's just gonna crop it smaller in both left and right, and from the height it's gonna crop it from top and bottom, same amount. Control C to undo the changes. Another way to crop it is the crop tool right here. And in here, you can just crop it to the scene, and also to whatever size you want to have. Basically like that. right, guys, I hope this is helpful to you guys, and good luck with the project.